is actually multifaceted in its theming. On one side, you have the Arabian Nights stories. On the other side, it starts to turn into Central Africa, and that's where you'll find the Curious Giraffe Shop. And that is more of a safari outpost. And the Jeep parked outside is supposed to be the Jeep of the owner of the shop who goes out on safari and collects items and brings them back to the shop for sale. As you go into the shop, you'll notice up above the giraffe, which the shop is named after. As you further walk through the bazaar into the middle of the land proper, the theming continues with the Central and Northern Africa. As you approach the water's edge, we have a couple of restaurants, Hakuna Matata and the Café de la Brousse, which are both on the waterfront with plenty of tables and seating by the water. One of the table service restaurants that we were to come up with was the Explorers Club restaurant, which was a colonial establishment put together by an eccentric Englishman who used to travel all over the world on safari, and he used to collect all these different kinds of items, and he brought them back to populate his restaurant. This was to be a place where explorers from everywhere in the world would come and trade trinkets or things they found for a meal and entertainment. This is a good example of learning as we go, because sometimes things don't work out like we thought, and this restaurant was a little bit underutilized, so it became a counter restaurant, and it was changed to Colonel Hathie's. That area is actually land set aside that we set aside for future development for added attractions later. One of the attractions that we did add after opening was in this future development area that we left open just for that reason, and this attraction was the Temple of Peril. It was a attraction that was part of the added capacity program, and it turned out to be quite a popular attraction. It's based on the Indiana Jones films, and it is a lost temple in the jungle that he is excavating for archaeology reasons. And it's a wild ore car roller coaster through this. And an interesting point is that this is the very first roller coaster in any Adventureland that we've ever done before. And also it is the very first roller coaster with a loop that we've done in any Disney park anywhere. So that's a first. To coincide with the opening of Temple of Peril, it was based on Indiana Jones. We again took a facility and changed it, adapted it to this new theming, which was the small shop that used to be called Trader Sam's. And we changed the name and adapted the merchandise to the Indiana Jones theme and made it the Indiana Jones Outpost, which fits with the new attraction. The Disneyland Paris Pirates, we had the opportunity to make it just a little bit better, a little bit bigger, and to change a few things around it to make the story flow a little bit better. So after you go through the quiet, calm lagoon, we take you up an up-ramp into the top of the fort right away. And this is your first introduction. It's like a time travel, going back in time, and you're dropped right in the middle of a battle, right between the crossfire, and continue through the town to watch the pirates loot and pillage and eventually burn the town down. And at this point where we've inserted our second drop, and this time we drop you down into a powder keg arsenal that's also on fire, and the whole thing explodes and blows up all around you, and you just escape in the nick of time. And then from there, you're brought back to the present, and this is where you see all the skeletons and that the pirates have. This is their just desserts, so to speak, for their way of life. And this makes more sense putting it at the end of the ride, whereas the other pirate rides and the other parks have it at the beginning of their ride. So this makes the story much more believable. Adventureland has never really had a major icon that sticks up in the sky like the other lands do. Frontierland has Big Thunder, and Fantasyland has the castle, and Discoveryland has Space Mountain, but Adventureland never really had an icon like that sticking up. So when we did Adventure Isle, we used the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse as the icon and elevated it some 20 feet off the water, so it has a skyline presence. So anywhere in the land, anywhere in the park, you can see Adventureland as well as the other lands now. We were a little nervous when it came to landscaping Adventureland because of the tropical nature, and we were a little afraid that the vegetation that we wanted to grow there wouldn't flourish in the cold weather of Paris. But it turns out we were pleasantly surprised because the land has just taken off and is just very lush now. It's just turned out great. Because we have different areas of Adventureland, different thematic areas within the same land, for example, rock work had to change with each theming. The African area has authentic, smooth, rounded rocks, where Adventure Isle has a ocean-worn strata rock that actually goes in a direction. You can actually follow the direction of the rock as it must have formed the island originally. The theming of each area of the land continues all the way down to area benches that people sit on, trash cans, the food carts. It's all designed to fit that particular area. We have 5 different kinds of benches throughout the land. On the Adventure Isle, we have them made out of ship parts from the shipwreck that brought the family to the island, and they built their treehouse out of. The African areas, we have rustic wooden benches with designs on them. In the bazaar, we have stone carved benches. So it's all that subtle touch. Graphics, again, are a part of this subtle theming that we have to apply to each facility. Each sign is designed specifically for the shop or the restaurant or the attraction that it's applied to carry out the overall theme. Most of the props in Adventureland are authentic. We sent people all over the world to pick up various items from the parts of the world that we were trying to depict within the land. These are all small touches that we add that are subtle. They don't glare out at you, but they're subtle enough to make you think that, yeah, this is this area of the world and this is this area of the world. I'm very pleased with the way Adventureland came out. I think it's the most unique Adventureland we've ever done, and it can only get better.
Les éléphants seront plus résistants que vous, si je me trompe. Enfin,